Hello, this is Irina K and welcome back to my channel Astro Babushka. I'm a Vedic astrologer and I apply ancient 3000 years old knowledge to modern times. We are stepping into October 2025. And make no mistake, this is not just another month. It is part of a chain of transit that will define our future. Since September or even August, I would say the sky has been shifting in ways that echo historic turning points. Pluto, Uranus, and Neptune are locking into the critical degrees. The eclipse season had opened the door to global shocks, and the United States itself is approaching its Uranus return, the same planetary cycle that coincided with countries' founding revolution. Now, October becomes the hinge. We begin with rare planetary exchanges. Venus, Sun, and Mercury weaving into one another like a hole of mirrors, signaling diplomacy, spectacle, and spinning promises. Venus soon meets Ketu in Purva Phalguni, dissolving illusions around money, pleasure, and alliances. This is karmic unraveling, the kind of aspect that strips away glamour and exposes what lies beneath. A full moon in Pisces reminds us of the humanitarian crisis building across the world. Refugees, displaced people, health and welfare systems are all pushed into the spotlight. Then comes Venus opposite Saturn and Jupiter square the Sun. Leaders are tested, promises inflated, and the public mood grows weary of grand words with no delivery. The middle of the month brings one of the year's most fated shifts. Pluto stations direct in Capricorn. What was hidden in governments, institutions, and power structures begins to move again. History tells us Pluto stations mark upheavals and scandals. And finally, the crown jewel, Jupiter enters Cancer in October 18th. Jupiter in Cancer amplifies questions of homeland, family, food, security, but it does not enter quietly. It squares the Sun and moves toward opposition with Pluto. It's compassion versus control, care versus empire. Let's break down the key turning points and walk week by week and see how these alignments play out. On October 3rd, we begin with a rare triple Parivartana yoga. Venus sits in Leo, the Sun in Virgo, and Mercury in Libra. Each one occupies the other's sign. A loop, a cosmic barter system. On the surface, this looks brilliant. Polished diplomacy, cultural spectacle, a marketplace of ideas. Leaders may appear charming, artists may shine, and words flow with dramatic force. But Parivartana is not straight progress. It is a mirror hole. Promises circle back on themselves. Negotiations may glitter, but the wheel spins without moving forward. This is the kind of transit where we hear big words, see grand displays, and yet sense that nothing truly changes beneath the stage lights. Only a day later, on October 4th, Venus meets Ketu in Leo in Purva Phalguni. The star Venus herself rules. This makes the transit doubly karmic. Here, the glamour star collides with a shadow node. Pleasures dissolve, alliances weaken, contracts unravel. On the world stage, scandals may break in politics, entertainment, or finance. Unions that seemed fated may suddenly collapse. Purva Phalguni is about love, pleasure, and agreements. When Ketu enters, the illusion of beauty is stripped bare. What looked destined yesterday may vanish overnight. On October 6th, we reach the full moon at 19 degrees of Pisces in Nakshatra Revati, facing the Sun at 19 degrees Virgo in Nakshatra Hasta. Revati is the last nakshatra. It rules journeys, migrations, transitions, and endings. Hasta rules order, health, and the skill of the hands. Together, they create a lunation that shines on refugees, humanitarian crises, and public health. This is not a destructive moon. Both luminaries are in Friends signs. But it is precise, like a scalpel. What must be healed will be exposed. Expects governments to address displaced peoples, healthcare systems, and the hidden costs of labor. By October 10th, the mood grows heavier. Venus, debilitated in Virgo, opposes Saturn in Pisces. Love, money, and diplomacy feel restrained, burdened by duty. Jupiter in Gemini squares the Sun in Virgo. Leaders inflate visions, overpromise, or exaggerate reforms. The Moon in Taurus trines the Virgo Sun, softening the blow, but the collective mood sighs with fatigue. We've heard this before. This alignment brings budget cuts, strained alliances, austerity measures. It is a test of patience. From October 11th to 13th, the moon joins Jupiter in Gemini, forming beautiful Gajakeshari Yoga, the elephant-lion combination of dignity and wisdom. For 3 days, words carry weight. Leaders speak with grandiosity, media channels amplify, treaties may be drafted. It feels inspiring and very much uplifting. But remember, Gemini is double-faced. The same words that uplift can mislead. We may see a surge of optimism, but it is a prelude, a bright wave before the storm. Why? Because October 13 is one of the month's turning points. Pluto stations direct at 7-degree Capricorn. When Pluto halts, hidden structures groan. In Capricorn, Pluto always speaks of governments, hierarchies, and control. And this is not an abstract idea. History shows us Pluto stations often correlate with scandals, collapses, or sudden power plays. Venus trines Pluto and Uranus, breakthroughs, unexpected turns in finance or diplomacy. But Venus also opposes Neptune, deception, veils, illusion. The moon opposes Pluto. The people feel it as fear, protest, or emotional eruption. Then comes the high point. October 18th, Jupiter enters Cancer, his throne of exaltation. Jupiter is the planet of wisdom, low morality, protection. In Cancer, he magnifies themes of homeland, food, family, and security. This can bring reforms, protection measures, and a surge in collective morality. But exaltation cuts both ways. Alongside genuine compassion, nationalism, and populism rise, leaders may promise protection, but the question is, protection for whom? At the same time, Jupiter squares the Sun in Libra and moves toward opposition with Pluto in Capricorn. The stage is set for a battle. Compassion versus control, care versus empire. For governments, this begins a cycle of sweeping reforms. For the people, it begins a reckoning. Who truly shelters and who only promises? Check out my Jupiter in Cancer video for more information about this. So, what is October 2025 about? Parivartana, leaders trading masks, spinning promises in circles. Venus Ketu, illusions torn away, contracts and pleasures unraveling. Full moon and Revati, endings, migrations, and humanitarian revelations. Pluto stations direct, the mechanics of government cracking open. Jupiter exalted, the protector crowned, but tested against the shadow of power. So October is not an isolated chapter. It is the bridge between the eclipse shocks of September and systemic upheavals of 2026, and the first of dangerous dates for humanity that I mentioned in one of my previous videos. The sky is not asking politely anymore, it is demanding change. See you in the next video.